If you're not aware already, Gen 5 has been added to Pokemon Go. Now, while not every single Gen 5 Pokemon has been added to the game, we do have Game Master information on all their stats and all their moves. Therefore, we know who the Gen 5 winners and losers are. Now, this video is part 2 of a series, so if you haven't seen part 1 already, link in the description to that. But if you have, and you're ready for part 2, well, let's get into it. This part will cover the Pokemon Leavanny through Cinccino in Pokedex order. Alright, then we got the Leavanny. Leavanny here is a grass bug type Pokemon, and it's not really all that stand out for any one reason or another, but I think it does have an interesting attribute as far as PvP is concerned. It's got Razor Leaf and Bug Bite, it's a bug grass Pokemon, it's got Leaf Blade, but it also has Silver Wind. So it could potentially stand out with the combination of Silver Wind and Razor Leaf in PvP. I don't think it's a top must-have PvP option by any stretch, but it does fulfill the grass type role with the Razor Leaf. So I think it is like a Razor Leaf Pokemon with a little extra flavor in there. Maybe something like Victory Bell using a more consistent secondary charge move like Acid Spray does this guy's job a little bit better. But this guy isn't weak to Psychic type Pokemon, so we'll have to see. Not a whole lot of chatter, not a whole lot of buzz, nothing statistically awesome, but I think we might see it in like a cup in the future or something. We got Scolipede, nothing too interesting going on with it, other than looking kind of cool. So it's got like the millipede kind of look going on, right? So you think like all them legs, but it's got explicitly 4 legs. Pokemon, what are you doing? Bug Bite, Poison Jab, not bad. Sludge Bomb, not bad. Mega Horn, Gyro Ball, not really doing a whole lot. And then the stats, not really helping it. We got Whimsicott. Whimsicott's another cutie. It's a fairy grass type Pokemon. Just looks like a bundle of joy. Nothing going on as far as gym defense and offense goes. Offenses kind of lacking. And then in the PvP department, not too bad. It got Charm, it got Razor Leaf. So if these resistances come into play for it in a specific cup or something, I could see it potentially standing out. Big thing against it though is it's doubly weak to the poison type attacks. So Poison Jab anything just annihilates this guy. Alright, we got Lilligant. Nothing going on with Lilligant. Sorry, Lilligant. Basculin. Nothing going on with Basculin. Sorry, Basculin. Basculin does have 2 colors. It's got a blue and a red. Expect some hemisphere color regional nonsense going on with that. But aside from that, Basculin's not that interesting. Krookodile, unfortunately, didn't get the highest potential as far as its moveset goes. So I was hyping this guy a little bit in the past as a good all-around Pokemon, but not like a top dark or ground type Pokemon overall. But yeah, it didn't get Earth Power, and it didn't get Foul Play. So it's not a bad dark type, it's not a bad ground type, but there are plenty of other options that are already doing its job significantly better. So sorry, Krookodile, I had hopes for you. You did not live up to them. So Darmanitan, kind of interesting. So it's not a top fire type Pokemon, it's not a bad fire type Pokemon. It did get its bread and butter Fire Fang Overheat moveset. It doesn't learn Fire Spin, so that was never on the table. But yeah, it got the best fire type moveset it could potentially get. One thing that will be interesting about it is how they handle its normal form and its Zen form. So Darmanitan has 2 different forms, but it's based off of like its HP threshold in the main series games. So I don't know how they're going to implement it in Pokemon Go, if they're just going to be 2 separate Pokemon, or maybe they're just going to ignore this Pokemon's existence for the longest time just so they don't have to dress it. Sort of like, you know, what they did with Ditto and Smeargle. But yeah, the Zen form does have potential to be annoying in PvP and potentially in gym defense as well, because it'll be a Psychic Pokemon, resists Machamp, or I guess Conkeldurr now, and then it'll be Fire type, so resists the Metagross. So as far as gym defense is concerned, this guy could be annoying in Zen form. And then PvP, I don't know. I honestly don't know what the Zen form stats are, so I can't make too many educated guesses on that, but it could be interesting with the Zen form. Maractus. Nobody cares about Maractus, and Maractus didn't really get anything interesting, so sorry, Maractus. Crustle. Crustle is one such PvP mon that T-Forgery, I don't know if it's TF Ordry or TF Ordry. I always want to call it TF Ordry. I don't know why. T-Forgery mentioned this in his Gen 5 PvP article. Potentially good rock type, bug type Pokemon. And yeah, it got all the moves it needed to be good. It got Fury Cutter, which is awesome. It's got Smackdown, also awesome. And then it's got Rock Slide and X Scissor. And if you want to be a little bit quicker, it got Rock Blast too. But I feel like Rock Slide just beats out Rock Blast. But who knows what specific situation you're trying to make happen more in PvP. Pretty awesome Pokemon. Really tanky. Got the right movesets to be awesome. Is it a good general threat in PvP overall? I wouldn't say so, because so many steel type Pokemon dominate in such a heavy way, and this guy doesn't have anything on those steel type Pokemon. Plenty of other things like wash this guy over a little bit as well. But in a specific cup, I could see it popping up. So good job, Crustle. You made it. Oh yeah, and if you haven't seen it already, Dwebble. Dwebble is its pre-evolution, and it's also a cutie. Oh, look at it. We even got the sprite. Little cute Dwebble guy. I love Dwebble. Next up, we got Scrafty. Apparently, really big winner as far as PvP goes. So if you look at PvPoke's generalized rankings with Gen 5 added, Scrafty's in the number 2 position. It's got counter. It's got power-up punch. So it already has the bread and butter Omega fighting type moveset. It also has Foul Play and Acid Spray. Acid Spray lowers the defense of your opponents, so it could be an interesting kind of trick move to throw in there, but I think, you got the bread and butter. Overall, I feel like Scrafty might be a little bit overhyped by the simulation results here, because like Altaria is number 1, and we all know that Altaria is not the number 1 PvP Pokemon. I feel like Scrafty might be in a similar boat. Because what is Scrafty really doing? It's doing the fighting type job, right? But it's a fighting type weak Pokemon doing the fighting type job. Stuff like Metacham, super effective on this guy. Deoxys defense form, it's got counter, so all it has to do is avoid the foul play, and it's got this guy. And then what's Scrafty bringing to the table? Not a whole lot. Like, yeah, it can counter steel type Pokemon, but other Pokemon already doing that job, and they can also beat Scrafty. So I think Scrafty is really good, really threatening, nice addition to the meta. It's like a fighting type or pseudo fighting type, if you consider Deoxys defense form a fighting type, that's not weak to ghost type attacks or dark type attacks, which is interesting. But overall, maybe not the biggest contender. I think it's like more in like Altaria's kind of boat, where it's good, it's threatening, a lot of situations it's going to clean up really nice, but I think overall not the most threatening thing we got on the block. One thing I am kind of interested with it is using the Snarl moveset. So you got Snarl. That way you have an effective, aggressive hit on Psychic-type Pokemon right out of the gates. So I think that's pretty cool. Big winner in terms of PvP, but I don't think it's going to be the biggest thing since, like, I don't know, Azumarill, which also beats Scrafty. So, sorry, Scrafty. The number 1 PvP Pokemon, Azumarill, beats you. So, kind of rough in this life. Another cool thing about Scrafty is Scrafty is almost the definition of swag. Like, it's trying to hold his pants up, but it's got so much swag. It just can't. Scrafty don't care. Alright, next we got Sigilyph. Sigilyph's a pretty cool Pokemon. Will it be regional locked or not? I don't know. Psychic flying type. Relatively tanky. Unfortunately, Zen Headbutt. So the majority of the intrigue for it almost basically ends there. I think it could be a little bit of a standout option with, in PvP at least, with the Ancient Power access. Maybe. But that aside, not a whole lot going on with Sigilyph. Other than looking cool. Alright, now we got Confederacy. Confederacy is coming up soon. Yeah, it was announced to be released. I don't know specifically when. I think next week we get to get the Yamask and the Confederacy. I don't remember the dates. I'm really bad with dates. At any rate, this Pokemon, aside from looking really creepy and having a bunch of hands coming out of it, didn't really win in the moveset department, no. So it did have potential to maybe stand out in PvP and maybe stand out in gym defense. Moveset pending, but moveset is no longer pending. It got Astonish, which is bad, and Zen Headbutt, which is worse. So it did get Shadow Ball, which is, thumbs up, but even though Confederacy has 4 hands, there are not 4 thumbs up for Confederacy, so I'm sorry, guy. You can put it in a gym, it'll annoy Machamp at least, so it's got that going on. Definitely not a standout Pokemon. Caracosta. It's a turtle. It's a water rock turtle. It's got Water Gun, Rock Throw, Surf, Ancient Power, Body Slam. Overall, not that big of a deal as far as raiding or gym attacking or gym defending goes. As far as PvP is concerned, the typing could be pretty interesting for it. It's like analogous with the Omastar, but it's got Body Slam and Surf, which are slightly better than what Omastar has going on. So we'll see what the future holds for Caracosta. But for now, not a whole lot's going on with Caracosta. Now we have Archeops, which, man, this Pokemon was almost so cool. It was almost so cool. So if you remember from my top 10 of Gen 5 article / video, this guy could have been the Rampardos of flying type Pokemon. Or at the very least, like another high DPS analog rock type Pokemon to Rampardos. Unfortunately, that did not happen. That did not happen for Archeops. Got Steel Wing and Wing Attack, so Wing Attack, that's a dub, but no other flying type charge moves at all. Now, as far as my research into Archeops went in the deep past, the only way it was really going to be that crazy of a flying type Pokemon was if it got Sky Attack. If it got any other flying type charge move, it would have been tame. It would have been worse than Moltres, but maybe you can actually get this guy. But yeah, it didn't get any of that. Didn't even get a cool rock type set. It got like nothing. So this is a Pokemon with a ton of power behind it, but it's completely held back by its moveset. Sorry, guy. That is a Gen 5 loser. Doesn't even have anything cool with PvP to work off of. It's just a loser. Now we got Garbodor here. Garbodor is a complete champion as far as design goes. I mean, look at this thing. You've got Muck, and Muck is just this purple goo. Totally not creative, right? This Pokemon is just a pile of trash. It actually looks like a ripped open trash bag that also has like gasoline nozzles coming out of it. I don't know, man. This thing is garbage. And of course, Garbodor, it knows exactly what it is. So I actually love Garbodor. Got a soft spot for it. As far as the moveset department goes, it's not too shabby. Infestation, Acid, what more could you want from it? Got Acid Spray, and it got Gunk Shot. And honestly, as far as being a top tier garbage Pokemon goes, you need to have Gunk Shot, and it got Gunk Shot. So Gunk Shot is animation, literally throwing a trash can at the opposing Pokemon. This guy got it. If you actually want to use Garbodor for something, you know, it's not going to happen in PvP. Gym offense, not really there. But gym defense, it's got Body Slam, which is an annoying attack, right? Poison type Pokemon, Machamp, Conkeldurr comes into it, they switch out because it resists them. Your opponent switches in Metagross, let's say. You don't have a single effective hit on that Metagross, but because they swapped out, chances are you will be able to throw a trash can at them before you go down. And you have to ask, is your opponent going to dodge that trash can, or are they going to take it in the face? And if you think about it like conceptually, like on the next level, either way, you've won now. Because if they dodge it, that suggests that your trash can was so threatening to them that they couldn't be hit by it. They were afraid of your trash can. And if they do get hit by your trash can, well then that's also a win. Because you just hit them with your trash, which means they are now sullied when they were not before. Which means Garbodor is now, at the very least, on the same level as them, but possibly even further beyond, because they're slightly trashed, but this guy is absolutely trashed. So, if you think about it that way, you're always winning on gym defense if you include a Garbodor with Gunk Shot. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Next up, we got Zork. Zork is a massive fan favorite Pokemon. As far as the moveset goes, it won. It got the best dark type moveset. It got Snarl and Foul Play. Is it a top tier dark type attacker? Not quite. It's got a good attack stat, but it's got really poor bulk going on. Like no defense, no stamina. So then you might be thinking, well, does this make Zork a glass cannon? Unfortunately, not really. I mean, if you're super glassy, that's one thing. But if you can back that up with a high attack stat and being like the best DPS, okay, that's kind of cool. You now have a seat at the table. Sort of like Deoxys attack form. Super mega glass cannon, but it's got like those one or two niche uses that make it all worthwhile. Zork, unfortunately, doesn't really have that going on. So Zork looks cool. People love Zork, so by all means, get that trophy. Yeah, that's all that's going on with Zork here. It's a trophy Pokemon. Unless you're into like Poke Draft. Maybe if you're a Poke Drafter, you'll find some use for Zork, but that aside. One thing I am kind of interested about is how they're going to handle Zora and Zork in the wild, because in the main series games they had this like disguise feature going on, sort of like Ditto, where they would appear to you as like a different Pokemon, but then when you engage battle with them, then they transform into themselves. I'm kind of hoping that Pokemon Go continues that trend. Oh, whoa, it's a Pikachu or whatever, and you throw a Pokeball and oh, it's Zora. I hope that happens. I'm pretty sure it's Cinccino, so I'm gonna call it Cinccino. I could be wrong, feel free to correct me. As far as Cinccino goes, it wins as far as looking cute goes, because like, look at this thing. The moveset department, Charm. So I guess as far as PvP is concerned, you know, Charm and then Aqua Tail. So as far as PvP concerns, there's always like the potential seat for this thing at the table, but overall, not impressive by any stretch. That was a clip from my live stream SwagTips. SwagTips streams most Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time on the Twitch channel SwagTips. If you have any questions on this content, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you like this content, maybe you want to see part 3, well then make sure to subscribe. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patron supporters. If you're not aware, I got a Patreon. Patreon helps me fuel a video editor, so if you'd like to keep the swag train rolling on, check out Patreon.